Okay then, GB Senior A's, calisthenics. Now, calisthenics from the ancient Greek, kalos stenos, meaning beautiful strength. It was practiced 2,600 years ago in ancient Greek, and so you might infer from that it has some direct relevance. It has a lot of relevance to paddling, not just using your own body weight, mobilising, motivating, and applying your own body power. But if I said to you, if you defined calisthenics, you'd say probably muscular strength, flexibility, agility, efficiency, effective use of power. I could be describing paddling, could I not? So please do take a look at the calisthenics program that we've set out. There's also lots of other great stuff out there on YouTube and the like. But this video has 4 short topics I'd like you to consider over the next months, apply and give me some feedback on that. Remember, we are a team. Feedback is a gift that makes you great. So I'm very interested and I value your opinions. The subject matters are leverage in terms of paddles, which leg forward, a short discussion about that, angle of paddle on entry. I don't mean that way, I mean that way, okay? So have a look at that, give me your thoughts on that. And also the last little video is about hips and lats engagement. There's a couple of resistance bands exercises. I love resistance bands. It's a gym in your pocket. You'll hear me say that ad infinitum. And I do recommend you acquire one if you possibly can. There'll be more stuff coming on regarding lats and hips anyway, but please enjoy the video. Send me your feedback. Feedback is the gift that makes you, us, great. Cheers. Okay, while we're here in this very tastefully coloured lounge, I'd like you to consider this over the next month or so. Leverage. We'll talk about shovels when we meet in person and what the relevance of shoveling is to paddling, but hold that thought for later. Here we have a lever. Same as a drag back paddle, 130 centimetres long, but basically it's an SUP paddle, but I'm going for the length first. Here we have a weight, and the weight is about 25 kilos. It's about the average you'd be shifting if you're paddling a dragon boat over a sustained period. Might be a bit more for the bigger people or the stronger people, but 25 is a good average. So here we are, I'm holding my paddle, and I'm holding my paddle here down by the neck of the paddle, just by the paddle blade. And what I'm going to do is basically use my body and this leverage and try and move this weight back. Okay, so about 25 kilos. You have to trust on putting the effort in. So I'm trying to move. Yes, I can move it. Yep, yeah, I can move it. It's moving, yep, just. Okay. Now I'm going to change the length of the lever and just hold the paddle a couple of handspans further up and try and apply the same pressure using the same body, but with a bigger lever. And yes, look at that. I can move the same paddle or the same lever and apply it to the weight and move the weight further back more efficiently and more effectively. You have to trust I'm trying to put the same effort into it, and I am. What I'm saying to you is, I've got the same body, I've got the same strength, I've got a longer lever, and the power I'm applying to this weight via this lever is amplified, therefore it's more effective and more efficient. Now, what I'd like you to do, if you normally paddle in what I'll call position 1, down by the neck of the paddle, call that position 1, handspanned up position 2, handspanned up position 3. If you come too far up, you lose dexterity and the paddle flutters too much if you've ever done that as an exercise. Position 1, position 2, position 3. Try paddling your normal paddle stroke, do your normal skills and drills, what you normally do, and try it in different positions and tell me what you find. I would not be surprised if you come further up to position 2 or position 3 and you find the whole thing feels stronger, okay? More effective and more solid. But like I say, an exercise I'd like you to try, just change in leverage, give me some feedback, and we'll work more on this as the months go on, because we're looking for the optimum leverage rather than sticking to the same old dogma, unless of course that same old dogma works already and works very effectively and very efficiently as it is. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. A question for you. Which leg forwards? Inside leg or outside leg? Question, answer, it depends. Now, it depends on a number of things. You could go outside leg forward, you could go inside leg forward, or you could go both legs forwards, right? Let me just unpack this a little bit. We will test and adjust and measure everything to determine which is going to be best to suit us. From my point of view, and this is stuff I've measured with a data paddles are measured in kilos rather than newtons or watts. I have found if I'm paddling outside leg forwards, I'm able to deliver more power in terms of kilos, and we're talking about 33 kilos as opposed to 30 kilos in a paddle stroke in a series with the data paddle. When I'm paddling inside leg forwards, that's going to be about 29, 28, 29, maybe 30, okay? So I've found outside leg forward is more powerful, however, it's less stable. There's more likelihood for a boat to rock either side, which means my mate on the other side has got to counterbalance or balance that in some way, or if the boat is rocking a little bit, then the sweep at the back, has got to do more steering. So for that extra power, that's the benefit. There's a cost to pay, the cost and benefit issue regarding stability of the boat. Inside leg forward, I can deliver slightly less power, but the boat is more stable. So we need to decide which is best, which permutation suits us, okay? And we test and adjust and measure, okay? What the boat does, the whole boat needs to do. I have found, and I paddle both legs forwards as well, most people I know who paddle both legs forwards tend to have a bias on one leg or the other. What they actually do, they don't actually paddle both legs pushing like that. There is a leading leg and they push off one leg. There's still some hip rotation. So we need to decide whether that's going to work for us, whether we can deliver more balance, more stability and more power in whatever configuration. So I'm open to ideas about that. I know what I prefer at the moment, but I can be persuaded, and what I'll be persuaded by is evidence and measurement. That's in terms of legs forwards. What you do need to do, whichever leg you've got forward or both, is rotate at the hip, unwind from here, and then drive with the leg. We'll all agree with that in terms of that's the way a body works, okay? So however we are pushing with the leg, if you're a rower, 40 to 46% of your body power comes from the legs. So whichever stroke we use, we need to be engaging the leg, pushing forwards. It's legs and core at that phase of the stroke. More on that later on. Okay then, here we go again. Angle of paddle on entry. Now if you looked at that older video in the winter, you'd see me coming into the water at a slight angle. There's a reason for that, okay? What I don't want you to do is leave the paddle at the angle. It's all about lat engagement. We do this exercise, when I see you live, I'll explain exactly what I mean. But when we're paddling, there I've got lat engagement, okay? A slight angle on the paddle. Over there, I haven't, okay? So when I'm coming into the water, what I want, or I'm looking for, is a slight angle to maintain that lat engagement all the way through when we're doing the push down phase of the stroke. When the blade is fully buried in the water, at that point, it's tracking back parallel to the centre line of the boat, obviously not the gunnel. So then I want it parallel, okay, or perpendicular. And then we track back, okay? So it comes in at a very, very slight angle to maintain that lat engagement. And then when we're engaging legs and the lats lower left side, as in legs and back and core, that's when it comes back parallel to the centre line. And obviously the force I'm putting in that direction moves the boat in that direction. Just think about the catch on entry and angle. Think about it. Some of the force is going down, some of the force is going back. As the paddle tracks through, the angle changes. When we get to the 90-degree point, that's the point at which I can deliver most power to the blade and move in the direction I want to go in. But think about this. The more effective my catch is, that lift I can use. I'm generating lift. I'm lifting the boat momentarily, making that boat momentarily lighter. So when I track through to the power phase, we are accelerating, I am accelerating together with you, a momentarily lighter boat. That's the reason for the angle, that's the reason for the catch. More to come on that. Thank you. Okay, good morning again. Now, you know I'm a peace-loving, mild-mannered citizen. However, if I was to throw a punch at you, then where would that punch come from? Where would the power come from? Would the power come from the arm? No. Would the power come from the hip? Yes, okay? Hips, hip flexibility, serratus anterior, big muscle here, the big swing muscle. So I launch from here, and the arm is purely a connecting rod, and the force transfers through the arm and into and through the target. That's the theory of punching. I do not want you to punch your way down the race course, clearly it's a waste of effort. But this hip activation is really important for us for our rotation to set up and then strong derotation, okay? Hip activation, we'll be talking about how we do that in the boat, but we need to get our hips as flexible, as malleable, as dexterous if you like, as possible, okay? Flexibility, agility, mobility, all about hips and shoulders. Now, if you haven't got one of these, resistance band, it's a gym in your pocket. In the UK, you can buy for £8, Decathlon, £8, €8, that sort of thing. Highly recommend you get one of these. Loads of exercise you can do with resistance bands. But what I'm mainly concerned about here is the hip flexibility. Anchor it either higher, or we can anchor it slightly low down, but start for the higher one. And what we do is set it up so we've got tension there, okay? Don't want it too loose. So get some tension, and what we're doing is we're pulling through, flexing the hips, engaging the quads as well, pulling through. So you see we're initiating with the hips and body, arms at the end. That's the idea, okay? It works both legs forwards, whatever your preference. It's more stable inside leg forward, but it works both ways around, whatever side you normally paddle. It's great for hip flexibility either way. Now, that's one. You can also anchor it, slightly different pull, lower down. Once again, set the tension first, and you can get a different grade of band as well, and we're pulling through, pulling through, pulling through. Make sure you've got the extension there as well. So we're building the resistance, and we're pulling against the resistance using the hips and the core. Okay, one more exercise. I call it the wood chop and block. In the same vein, excuse my back, you need it high again. Lots of cable pulls are good, but I like these that have tension both ways. So, setting up, hip square, thumb down, palm out. You're probably familiar with that sort of pull there, but to accentuate it, there's the wood chop there and a block through, okay? Wood chop and block. So what we do is we introduce a pivot point there and create more of a pull across the chest and actually into the obliques on the right side as well. Okay, wood chop and block. Okay, just two exercises we can do with resistance bands rather. I've got loads more on the channel, and we're doing more with resistance bands as we go along, because as I say, it is a gym, a fitness system in your pocket. Thank you very much.